fans? What's the deal? Wait for a few y'all to show up real quick. A few of you have been asking me about the actual style breakdown of this fight, right? Um, Not so much, is this the fight that I want to see next or not, but just want my opinion on the actual style breakdown. So I'm waiting for a few of you to show up, give my opinion about this style breakdown between Joshua and Povetkin. Um, I think it's intriguing. Classic big guy versus smaller guy. Um, a lot of fans think that Anthony Joshua should fight Povetkin the way he fought Klitschko, and my thing is, shit, man, I'm not sure he's capable of fighting that style of fight. Klitschko is a unique fighter. The way he carries his hands low, the combinations he likes to use. Klitschko loves to, or loved to, because he's retired now, lead with left hooks, kind of uncanny, man. You know what I mean? He used to like to lead with left hooks, a la Michael Dokes, and guys that have fast hands at heavyweight. So I'm not sure Joshua can duplicate what Klitschko was doing, but I do think he can do some of the things that Klitschko was doing as far as throwing right hands and making them count, and making his left hooks count. The punch that actually dazed Povetkin in the Price fight was a left hook by Price, and keep Povetkin on the end of his punches. I think he can use some of what Marco Huck was doing against Povetkin. You know what I mean? And Huck kind of fights out of the high guard, likes to throw straight punches, and I think that's more of AJ, high guard, straight punches type of fighter, where he's not this elusive, irky jerky fighting with his hands down the way Vladimir Klitschko likes to fight. Lance says AJ stops Povetkin. Um, yes, a possibility that he does stop him, man. Possibility that he does stop him. Uh, my thing is, will AJ show him the respect, and will he try to coast to a decision, or will he try to go in there and actually hurt Povetkin, push him backwards with jabs and straight right hands and actually hurt him, or will he kind of show him that respect that he was showing Parker? Now, you may say that Parker was moving, which he was. Even the Takam, he didn't go all out trying to get Takam out of there. Now, I do think Takam's movement was giving him a little bit of, I'm not gonna say problems, but was making it tougher than just standing there being a stationary target. Um, I'm curious to see what this fight looks like on the inside. If it stays on the outside, if AJ can keep Povetkin on the outside his punches, he wins this fight um, easily. You know what I mean? But AJ to get close, he likes to let his hands fight over the. He's a guy that wants to land. He really wants to land that uppercut. That is a punch that could be key in this fight, especially if Povetkin does what he likes to do. Where he likes to do the little quick dip, then he comes back up with left hooks and overhand rights. Um, the referee in the Parker and Joshua fight, he didn't let that fight even. He didn't let them guys even fight on the inside. I was curious to see how that fight was going to play out with those guys fighting on the inside. And I have the same curiosity for this situation. If Povetkin can get up close, and let his, those hooks and overhand rights go, how is he going to adapt to Joshua trying to get that sneaky uppercut in there? And he was trying to sneak that uppercut in there against Parker, man. There was a few times where Parker thought they kind of mutually agreed to clinch, and AJ snuck a uppercut in there and it missed. You know what I mean? But sometimes AJ can be predictable with throwing that uppercut. So I think setting it up would be key, especially with his jab. Use the jab, push Povetkin back. I mean, even Marco Huck, when he was throwing, even Price too. You throw a straight it's not even about Povetkin, just any smaller come forward fighter like that, knock his head back, kind of disguise your right hand. Don't be so predictable with, trying to land uppercuts and straight right hands. But Povetkin, what I think he can do is just be the fighter he's been. Both of these guys, man, it's kind of too, well, I don't think trying something new will work. They got to just come out and be who they are. Povetkin has to come forward. He has to try to attack the body and try to find a way on the inside to land the left hook and the overhand right. You know what I mean? Test Joshua's chin, and go for broke if he has to. He can't just sit. He just can't sit out there and want to sit on the end of those punches, that jab and that right hand. He's gonna have to go for broke. You know what I mean? Takam didn't go for broke. He was trying to throw combinations here and there. He just couldn't. There was like really nothing on him. AJ was catching a lot of those punches with his gloves. But like I said, man, I think him trying to implement some of what Huck was doing will be hard, because Huck was able to pretty much catch most of those punches Povetkin was trying to throw at him, just using that high guard, man, and throwing straight down the middle and keeping Povetkin off balance. You know what I mean? That's something I think Joshua can this fight. And Klitschko was doing a lot of clinching in that fight, which he was, but he also had his spots in there, man, where he was legitimately hurting Povetkin with left hooks, right hands. He was hurting the dude. He was clinching and grabbing and holding him, but he was landing some good shots in there, hurting him. You know what I mean? So, man, but if Povetkin can't, it's heavyweight boxing, man, so you really don't want to, you know, you could damn near have a Mike Weaver versus John Tate situation, you know what I mean, where a guy gets knocked out in the last remaining seconds of the last round. But I got Joshua winning this fight, man. Let's see what y'all talking about. Somebody says it's going to be a very boring fight. I don't know if it'll be boring, man. I don't know. I think I disagree with that. I don't think it's going to be boring. You got a guy, Povetkin likes coming there and knock people out. He's not a dude that wants to come in there and you know, win decisions. You know what I mean? But I guess I guess it comes down to, I think you said something about the ref. I think it does come down to what the referee is going to allow them to do. If he doesn't allow any type of inside fighting and he breaks them as soon as they get close, then yeah, it could. And if AJ doesn't go for broke as far as being aggressive from the outside, then yeah, it possibly could be a boring fight. You know what I mean? But Povetkin's going to have to go for broke, and AJ, he can't be tentative. I mean, well, he can do what he wants, but if he tries to be tentative the way he was in the Parker fight, and even in certain spots with the Takam fight, really, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, just try to do what, you know, some of what Marco Huck was doing, and kind of do what some of Vladimir Klitschko was doing in this fight, and I think it'd be an easy fight for him. Povetkin, his last fight against Price. One thing about Price, people, you know, keep bringing up, oh, he got hurt against Price. It's like, okay, well, Price is known to have a weaker chin, but if there's one thing that people did get Price for, it was having heavy hands. So I'm not surprised that he shook up Povetkin. Not surprised at all. If there's one thing Price does have, is a good right hand, decent left hook. Even the fights that he lost, most of those fights he hurt the other guy. Like he hurt Tony Thompson. He put Christian Hammer down. They came back to beat him, you know what I mean? But he actually hurt those guys, you know what I mean? So if there's one thing that he does have remaining, that is heavy hands, you know. And like I said, he caught Povetkin with that hook in the middle of an exchange. Joshua is he throws hooks pretty well and uppercuts. Like I said, man, he's a big guy that likes to fight more of a mid-range. I think that's when he's at his best. You know, now if he's just downhill walking you down with straight punches, he can be, you know, he can look to be at his best fighting like that as well. But when guys are mixing it up with him, he's going forth. To me, he's at his best when he's able to throw hooks and uppercuts. You know what I mean? And if that's the case, then he's kind of playing to Povetkin's hands. But usually in a situation like this, man, especially at heavyweight, bigger, stronger, younger, they usually win the fight. Unless it's like a Larry Holmes versus Ray Mercer situation. You know what I mean? But I got AJ winning this fight, though, man. I think I'm going to end by... I'm going to go knockout. I think Povetkin's going to say fuck it and go for broke. And maybe it's just wishful thinking, but I'm thinking the referee's going to let him fight on the inside. You know what I mean? Because that ref in that Parker fight, man, god damn, he was making it seem like fighting on the inside was illegal the way he was jumping in there. It was like, Jesus Christ, man, ain't this dude heard of infighting? See what y'all talking about. Main event boxing talk. What's good, man? I ain't seen this dude. I ain't seen you in a minute, man. He says all Joshua has to do is keep distance and slowly break Povetkin over 7 rounds. Yeah, keep his distance. Set things up. You don't necessarily have to keep this distance. Just set everything up from a distance, by meaning using his jab. You know what I mean? If he goes in there trying to slug it out with hooks and uppercuts, then shit, anything can happen if he tries to fight like that. But even if he wants to, because those are his key punches, it's just setting everything up with the jab and double up the jab. You know what I mean? Don't have a predictable jab. I think Povetkin is a smart enough fighter to where if you're just using the same jab with the same speed, the same rhythm, I think he can work his way around that. Vladimir, like I said, was making him respect his feints. He was making him respect everything. You know what I mean? So Joshua, add in the feints, add in the triple jab, double jabs, jab to the stomach, set everything up, man. Don't be predictable. Povetkin has the best heavyweight resume at the moment. Well, going into the when him and Wilder was supposed to fight in May of 2016, I actually did a video. Well, not just a video, but I was actually saying that I thought that Povetkin had the second best resume at that current time, only to Vladimir Klitschko. I mean, this is a dude that was able to beat like Chris Bird. I think he beat Chris Bird in like his 13th fight or something like that. I mean, they did not hide Povetkin when it came to competition. That's one thing I can say about him. But he does have a pretty solid resume, I will say that. So Cryptimus Prime was good. He says, he says it's gonna be a boring fight. A lot of people think it's gonna be boring, huh? I guess it comes down to what the ref allows them to do. You know, and if Povetkin does have success on the inside, how is Joshua going to react? Will he retreat? Will he just bang away and have a slugfest? How is he going to react? And allegedly, this fight is going to happen in September, so I guess we will see. But a lot of you have been asking me my opinions about just, wanting me to do a style breakdown just to hear my opinion about it. I really wanted to see Wilder versus AJ, though, man. I mean, come on, man. It's been long enough. Us as fans, we haven't had a damn undisputed heavyweight champion in 19 years, man. Crazy. Can't believe it's been this damn long. I understand the Klitschko brothers couldn't fight when they were holding the titles because they were brothers, you know what I mean? But no excuse no more, man. We need a damn undisputed heavyweight champion. This is getting crazy, man. I'm getting tired of 2-3 dudes simultaneously all call themselves the best. I want to see one undisputed champion. What did y'all think of the Marco Huck versus Povetkin fight? I thought Huck fought a good fight. I thought he fought a damn good fight against Povetkin. What did y'all think of that one? As soon as I stop here, I'm gonna read these comments, man. See what y'all talking about in this chat. Just doing a really quick live feed. Gotta run a few errands real quick, but see what y'all talking about. Hammock Sports says he knocked Takam out flat in his back. I guess you're talking about Povetkin versus Takam. That was a really good fight, man. That was a really good inside fight. Takam showed some versatility in that fight against Povetkin. He almost, and I always say this, man. He in that fight, he looked like a poor man's James Toney, and I mean that with respect. And I'm not saying he's James Toney, but just his the defense he was showing in that fight, the counter punching ability he was showing in that fight, and moving a little bit, making Povetkin miss. But he started to get into a slugfest of a firefight with Povetkin, and Povetkin won out. But that was a very entertaining fight. And yes, he did knock Takum flat in his back. Iron Kong 26 says, "Peace. I got AJ winning a jab fest fight." A lot of people think it's going to be a boring fight or just like a jab type of fight. Tyrone Smith, what's good, man? Main Event Boxing Talk says, "But why don't people target Char? He is the weakest link." The weakest link to what? You mean title holder? I don't really count. I mean, I'm just a fan, right? But I don't really count that WBA regular title for nothing. That is just a secondary to me. That's like a glorified number one contender. You know what I mean? I guess somebody can target him for his title, but the WBA came out was it 2 summers ago? They came out with that tournament that they were going to have, and they were trying to eradicate all these minor titles within the WBA sanctioning body. The WBA president said this. Remember when they made that tournament for heavyweight, and the damn WBA regular title is still around, still around. Main Event Box Talk said it still counts. It doesn't count towards being undisputed. I mean, but yeah, technically, is it a world title? Yeah, but if let's say Wilder and AJ fought each other, the winner of that wouldn't have to go looking for Manuel Char. You know what I mean? I mean, they will have to say, "Oh man, I don't feel right until I beat Manuel Char." Just like the WBC silver title counts, but I mean, nobody has to go looking for Manuel Char to be undisputed. White and Fury should challenge Manuel Char. I actually thought Manuel Char was going to be Fury's first fight back. This is before Char won that strap, but I thought when Fury did come back, I thought it was going to be against Manuel Char. Iron Kong 26 says, "Doesn't Akendo have a court order lien on that title Char has?" Yeah, that dude went to court for that in like literally, I think like 2014 or something, man. Um, he's gonna have a he's gonna have a fight with Chagayev. Was it Chagayev? Yeah, I think it was Chagayev. Then Chagayev wanted to defend the title against other people. Then they finally let him do it, but they promised after he went to court, the WBA promised him that he will be in line for the next title shot for the regular title. Then he ended up getting hurt in like back to back to back training camps. So it was injuries that was making him not available. And then he had the situation with Shannon Briggs just recently, well, I think last year, where they were going to fight for the title. Then Briggs had the tested positive for something he claims it was in his asthma medicine. So yeah, man. But Freza, I mean, he's talk about long in the tooth, man. God damn, like these sanctioned body rankings and just these minor titles and all this stuff, man, is just all over the place, man. Respect to Freza Kendo, the old bull, but there's no way in the world that Freza Kendo should be fighting for any type of world title right now. I know Freza Kendo will disagree with me, but just from a fan looking at the landscape and who are the top contenders, and there's no way in the world, man. No way in the world. Tyrone Smith says the heavyweight is just so weak. There's just no one else to fight other than Wilder, AJ, or Klitschko leftovers, and I can't stand Brazil. Well, the thing about the leftovers things is this, man. I mean, if you lose a fight, you're considered a leftover. I mean, what are we going to do here? Have 30 dudes that are all undefeated? You know what I mean? Um, Losing a fight is losing a fight. Guys lost fights in the 80s, the 70s, 60s, 90s. You know what I mean? Losing a fight is losing a fight. Some of these undefeated guys can start fighting each other. That'll make a big difference. You know what I mean? Start fighting each other. Iron Kong says, "What do you think about David Hay apparently helping Parker train for Dillian White?" Um, being that David Hay fights, well, he fought because he retired, out of a elusive style. Parker can do some of that, although he doesn't fight like David Hay. Do I think he can add some pointers? Yeah, he's a professional fighter. I'm sure he can give him some type of pointers. But I think Parker's just who he is, man. I think he is who he is. Remains Tavern versus Luis Ortiz in Miami. I got Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz supposed to be fighting July 20. I just did a video about it. July 28th against Joe Hanks. Foul Pole Boxing says I remember Okendo fighting Ruiz on the Galata Bird undercard. I think that was the card where was that the card where Don King had like 4 or 5 heavyweight fights on that card? I think like Larry Donald was on that card and a few other guys. I believe that was the card. Main event boxing talk says I never understood why Hearn doesn't get Bellew to fight Char, a Kendall winner. It's a belt he can win. Um, I think Jarrell Miller has the I think they're saying that Jarrell Miller is going to be next in line to fight the winner of that, or he is they're talking about he's gonna be next in line is a possibility, but Somali Pyre was good. He says Povetkin too old. Boxing Square, what's good, man? He says Parker has used Hayes Gym before. Yes, he did. Yep, he did use his gym. He said Parker has used Hayes Gym before. His past 2 fights in the UK is just more of the same. Barry will only let Hay have so much influence. Yeah, he's not going there and just change his whole style around. I mean, he can probably say, hey, you should move your head like this or uh, move like, just little stuff like that. But I don't think he's going to go in there and give him a whole game plan. Iron Kong says, why Miller didn't take the Pulev fight? From what I heard, man, he doesn't want to fight in Sofia. God of War says a few years ago you made a video about how the division is very exciting now. Do you think it has changed now that that many unbeaten fighters are beaten? Well, one thing about me, man, I'm just a heavyweight fanatic. When people say it's boring and it's garbage, I still like it. You know what I mean? I'm just a heavyweight fiend, man. So, and I've been like this all my life from the 80s, 90s. I've just never uh, just never changed. You know what I mean? But I do like that some of these guys are fighting each other. I do like, for instance, that Lucas Brown finally got a loss. Not that I'm wishing for these guys to lose, but just some of these undefeated records are going away. Huey Fury finally got a loss. A few years ago, Jared Washington was undefeated. He's undefeated no more. So on and so forth, man. Luis Ortiz just got a loss. Dominic Brazil just lost. All right, man. Answer one more question, man. I gotta wrap it up, man. I got some stuff to do. Um, Rashid Sandiata, he says Jarrell Miller or Dominic Brazil next for Wilder. I think it's gonna be Brazil, and then Miller. To me, man, you could flip a coin. I would well shit since Miller hasn't lost. I guess I would want to see him more, but there's some built-in bad blood with both of those guys. Different types of situations is concerning Wilder with those guys. Good American fight. Um, I like those fights for Wilder. But and like I said, if Wilder can't get this unification fight with Anthony Joshua, what he should be doing is fighting the next highest rated available opponent, and that person is Dominic Brazil. Everybody else either has a fight scheduled. You look at that top 10, a lot of those guys in that top 6 have fights scheduled. You know what I mean? So I think Wilder, plus Wilder needs to get back in the ring, man. Get back in the ring. All right, man. I'm gonna call it a day, man. Y'all be easy.